Hey everyone, and welcome to today's explainer. Today we're actually going to do something a little bit different. We're going to intentionally slow down. I really want to set a super observant, almost contemplative tone right from the start, because we are going to prepare our minds for a deep visual deconstruction of just a single, seemingly ordinary photograph. We're going to see exactly how much story, texture, and emotion can literally be packed into a split second of daily life.
Okay, let's dive into this. Think about your own routine for a second. Think about how often we just completely rush past the mundane, everyday moments. Maybe it's your morning commute, maybe it's running a quick errand, or maybe it's literally just walking your pet by the side of the road and watching them find utter joy in a random patch of weeds. We get so caught up in getting from point A to point B that the actual journey just becomes a total blur. But what happens when we stop and force ourselves to truly look? That brings us to Section 1, the roadside encounter. This is our macro to micro analysis.
Before we get into the super specific details of our subject, we really need to establish the overarching setting, We need to understand the stage where this brief, quiet narrative is actually playing out. Take a slow, deliberate look at this entire scene. What we have here is a moment that is completely frozen in time. A short-haired, tan dog has paused its walk to just stand in a patch of roadside grass. Notice the incredibly unhurried pace here. The dog is lingering, deeply invested in some roadside playtime, maybe carefully picking out the absolute perfect blade for a quick, grassy snack. And hey, fun fact for you. Dogs actually often eat grass not because they're sick, but simply because they love the texture, the taste, and the whole act of foraging. It's this awesome primal joy happening right at the edge of the human world.
Let's move on and see how this builds. Keep that image in your mind's eye. Notice the really powerful visual divide framing this moment. Over on the left side, we have this rigid, gray, man-made concrete step. It's totally sterile. It's highly structured. It perfectly represents the urban environment, that space we humans are constantly hurrying through. But then, immediately to the right, we have wild, vibrant, jagged green natural grass. It's lively and completely unstructured. This really highlights the boundary where the human-built world directly collides with nature, and that is exactly where our canine subject has found a makeshift playground in Salad Bar, right there on the boundary of concrete and wild grass. Moving right along to Section 2, Analyzing Visual Details. Let's zoom in closely. Now, what's really interesting about this is how much personality the subject gains when we transition to the micro details. We've got short, tan-colored fur that just blends so warmly against that bright green grass. But if you look closer, there's a distinctive, slightly textured pinkish mark, like a little scar, right on the bridge of the nose. It really hints at a history, A life-lived, maybe some past enthusiastic foraging by the road that ended in a minor scrape. Combine that with those soft, slightly floppy ears, and then, wow, the most striking feature, that direct, incredibly focused eye contact. The dog isn't distracted by the environment anymore. It's literally paused its snacking and playing to lock onto the lens, engaging directly with us, the observer.
So the crucial point here is how this subject is tethered to the environment. Notice the simple gray leash cutting diagonally across the bottom right, extending completely out of the frame. This single line creates a fascinating visual tension. It heavily implies an off-camera human presence. We don't actually see the owner, but the leash physically and emotionally anchors this entire moment. It's a great reminder that this quiet exploration in the grass, this little roadside recess, is a shared experience between human and animal. Which brings us to our final synthesis in Section 3, a moment of pause.
And this brilliantly illustrates our core takeaway. When you think about all those details combined, the whole thing transforms. We're mixing the environmental contrasts with those intimate micro-details to form a really cohesive narrative. The dog's stillness isn't just a pause on a walk, it's literally a masterclass in being present. Finding genuine joy in playing by the roadside, carefully selecting a blade of grass to nibble right next to a sterile concrete block. This is what finding mindfulness in the everyday pause actually looks like. It's something we humans constantly struggle to do, yet this dog just does it effortlessly, reminding us to appreciate the tactile world right beneath our feet. Which leaves us with this final thought. By simply breaking down one image, we uncovered a rich story of nature, human connection, and a mindful pause. So I want to challenge you to apply this level of visual mindfulness to your own life today. What mundane moments, what quiet, seemingly insignificant little pauses might you be entirely overlooking in your own daily routines? Next time you're out on a walk, maybe just look a little closer. The world is full of hidden details just waiting to be noticed.